What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and we're back for another video on our Life is Strange community series. And this is going to be the last video for a little while for our community series. We've done a lot of videos leading up into episode 1 of Life is Strange 2 and leading into episode 2. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break after this just because of how busy the channel is going to be with other videos. I'll be back to make a couple videos before episode 3 releases. But for this video, I want to end on kind of the coverage leading up to episode 2 with a question. And that's what happens if the second episode of Life is Strange 2 sucks? What if this episode is not very good? And I want to talk about where that's going to lead us. Now, last time, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the expectations. We talked about what I need to see from Life is Strange 2 episode 2. Okay, there's a lot of things that we need to see from the episode. We've talked about the release date predictions. We've talked about why is it taking so long, and all that stuff kind of leads up to this episode having a lot to prove. And could that be setting up for failure? It could. There's a lot on this episode. I don't think there's as much on this episode as there was for episode 1, because it's the first time we get back with Don't Nod with Life is Strange 2. It's the very first time we jump back into that world. They have to introduce all these new characters. They really have to do a lot of stuff. And they did decently well, and we've talked a lot about that. But when it comes to episode 2, they have a lot to do. And say they fail, okay, say the political thing gets pushed too far, or say they just don't advance the character, say they don't advance the plot, say that it's not interesting, say that it makes people upset. There's a lot of things, say that they don't introduce an actual antagonist. There's a lot of things that they could do that would make this episode not good at all. And, to be quite honest, as it gets closer and closer, my expectations for it are kind of dropping. Like, I'm not expecting it to be the greatest thing in the world. And you know what? Maybe that's actually a good thing, because I was expecting episode 1 to be very, very good, especially coming off of obviously how amazing the first season of Life is Strange was. And the franchise will always be something special, and the first season will always be one of my favorite games ever, literally ever. But it's just a little disappointing of where we are right now, leading into episode 2. But okay, so say it's bad, say it's really bad, then what happens next? Well, to be honest, I feel like it's the start of something really, really bad. I think episode 2 is going to tell us a lot about what the season is, and I think episode 1, to be quite honest, has already told us quite a bit. See, I think the path and what they were planning on doing has already been jump-started. So the episodes could be weak, they could be lacking a certain feature, they could be lacking a certain storytelling device or whatever, and all those things could happen. But at the same time, they already have their plan, their blueprint for the rest of the season. So if the second episode is bad, honestly, I feel like you can just say that that's going to be the case for episodes 3, 4, 5. What does that mean in the long term? Well, I've said it before, and I honestly will say it again. I said actually in a comment a couple videos ago that if they take 4 months to do every single episode in this season, I don't feel like there'll be a season 3, or I think it'll be extremely hard to get a season 3, because I do not think the purchases are there for this game. I don't think the money's there. They said that it's been selling good, but at the same time, they discounted the entire season 50% just last month. So I think they're trying to get people into the game. I think they're a little bit desperate, and I've talked about that in the past videos. And I'm not bashing. Okay, I'm not bashing them. I want the game to be good. That's all I want. I want this series to be spectacular, and I don't feel like we're heading in that direction with season 2 in general. But episode 2 has a lot to do. It has a ton to do, and if it fails in any of those things, I feel like that's the first major warning signal that the rest of this season isn't good, because then we'll have the flaws of episode 2. It'll take 2, 3, 4 months to make episode 3. However many months is going to impact again the thinking going into episode 3. I think the longer they take for episode 3, the worse. That's my personal opinion. So that is going to end up happening. And then when we actually get into episode 3, already the season's halfway done, and a big portion of the story is told. They've already started to develop things. So I do think it would be it's going to go downhill. Personally, I believe if episode 2 is bad, I feel like this entire season is honestly kind of doomed. I don't think you can turn around a season that well. I think every season pretty much, the only honest example that I can think of is the Minecraft story mode. Now, I've played basically every single episodic game since The Walking Dead, since the first season of Telltale's The Walking Dead. I've played every single one since then that are kind of like big scale, Telltale or Don't Nod, but I've played a lot of them, and the only one that I can think of that changed was Minecraft. I think the first 3, 4, 5 episodes were bad, and then when they did that extension for 3 more episodes, I thought those were fantastic, but those were very, very different. Those took the series in a different direction. They just did a random like kind of spin-off story and put them in a setting for each one. I thought that was a really, really smart idea. So even that isn't a good example. Most of the time you can kind of tell where the season is going based off the first couple episodes. And most, I think every single one I've played, episodic games, you can tell that it's either going to be good or it's got something going for it or it's going to be bad. You can tell. I could tell from Game of Thrones. I could tell from Guardians of the Galaxy. I could tell for Batman. You could tell for Life is Strange Season 1. All of these, you could tell where the season was going and its quality level. Because most of them don't drop that significantly or don't even raise that significantly from episode to episode. They stay rather consistent. So we'll have to see. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think is going to happen? If Life is Strange 2, Episode 2 is bad, what do you think that means for the rest of the season? Do you think it's going to be bad in the first place, or am I wrong? Let me know. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel podcast. Now hit that bell icon so you guys are notified when every video in this Life is Strange community series goes up. Again, this is going to be the last one for quite a while, around a month or maybe a little bit more, just because of all the other videos we got. But we're going to be live streaming Episode 2 when it comes out. I'll be reviewing it the next day, and then I will, continue the community series a couple weeks after that, talking about Episode 3. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.